You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Ready to stand out, Army ROTC prepares you not only as a college student, but as a strong leader, allowing you to earn the rank of second lieutenant. You will be eligible for full tuition merit-based scholarships and develop leadership skills essential for your future. Start strong and enhance your college experience. Visit your campus Army ROTC representative today. To find out how you can earn up to a full tuition scholarship, visit goarmy.com/podcast to locate your closest ROTC program today. Army officers inspire, strengthen others. Paid for by the United States Army.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you. See you, see you.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome once again to the Cocktail Lounge. I am your hostess with the mostest, Aggie, and with me as always is my affable, quaffable, ever-suave co-host, Brad Slager. How are you doing this evening, Brad?
Doing good. I'm full of merriment for this holiday season, and for all our Latinx listeners out there, Merry Navidad. This is our last episode before the holidays. But I'm doing well. Although it's somewhat aggravating, because I got boxes sitting here and it's like I'm not allowed to open them for another week.
No, you're not. You are not allowed to open that damn box. I swear, I will go and I will flay you alive if you do. I guess we should explain. I sent Brad one of his Christmas gifts in a separate box because I did not know how to wrap this thing. And so I just put it in a huge box and then I stuffed it with, peanuts and paper and all that stuff. So there's this weird shaped small item in the middle of this huge box, but the box itself is the gift wrapping. So he cannot open it until Christmas. And it's just this big brown
Totally
box.
sucks.
And it says, do not open until Christmas on the side.
Totally sucks. I
you
thought,
have a-
maybe it would be, for our last show before Christmas, that kind of thing. Because you happen to have a box over there as well.
I do. One arrived and I was told not to open and I didn't. I didn't open the box.
Well, I
It's
kind
still
of
there.
wanted it to be in tandem, but then I kind of vacillated and said you could open it early because I then realized I've got one early as
No.
well.
You can. Well, okay. Let me think about it. I'll give you my answer tomorrow. Maybe. I've had a really rough afternoon. It turns out that we have a major leak near our water meter, but it's not on the city side, so it's on our side. So we're responsible for it. Every single plumber I know is gone. And
Yeah,
the ones that
this
are
isn't
not
the
gone,
time of year to have a major calamity.
right, and the ones that are not gone are 2 weeks booked solid, and they just cannot come out here. So I have a neighbor kind of, sort of, in the property that's in the, I guess, HOA next door, and we share the road out. So I was telling her about the situation, and she said, "Oh, there's a gentleman at my church. He does odd jobs, and he fixed mine. Let me get you his number." So I was like, "Oh, please, dear God." So he's coming tomorrow morning. So until then, I can't drink any water. I mean, we had to shut off our water. So I'm making do with cocktails.
There you go. I mean, it's
I know.
it's a happy story. It has a happy ending, and I have absolutely no idea what this has to do with the box that's sitting right here next to me.
I just want to make sure that my tomorrow is good, and so look, just let me think about it. Okay.
Fine.
Why are you in such a big hurry? Why can't you just wait till Christmas? I don't understand.
The big ass fat box just sitting here looking at me, taunting me. It's just like,
Oh my word.
sup, Slager? What's going on? Shut up, box. I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Oh man.
You should be getting one arriving soon yourself, though, to
Okay.
fully
So
complement the full.
we do have a tradition that we each open one gift that we have sent each other before Christmas. This is true. We do that.
See?
Okay. All right. I will acquiesce. But let's do it after the podcast. just be quiet.
I can wait.
Can you wait until after the podcast?
Yes. It just might impact my performance while we're on the air. I'm just saying.
Oh, you know what? Go get the damn box and open it on there. I just quit whining. Just do whatever you want. I don't care anymore.
Shut up. You're whining.
I'm not whining.
I'm kidding.
No, my boy, because of my son arrived today. So I've been yelling and screaming. I was so happy and everything. So my voice is a little rough. So can you tell it's a little lower than usual?
You get a little bit of a Kathleen Turner thing going, so that's good.
Yeah.
It's always helps to augment the program. Kind of counterbalances my falsetto. Just, for a little bit of variation.
Whatever. Okay. Now that
So
we
did
have
you,
resolved.
have you partaken of the bowl game, since we're a college football centric show ostensibly?
Actually, there is a bowl game going on that I was going to watch, and then I remembered, oh no, I have a a podcast. But
Yeah, I'm glad I was top of the mind tonight.
yeah, Hometown University. Well, not
Yeah.
hometown, but just
San Antonio's
UTSA.
playing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
UTSA is playing against Marshall. So that should be a fun game because UTSA is actually
I think
done
they're
really
going to
well.
be fine.
Yeah, they've done really well this year.
They got a decent team this year, so I think you're going to be all right. Marshall, they came in like sixth place in their conference, or one of the 6 teams. So I'm fairly confident they're going to be okay. Trying to see if got some
Okay.
updates, but there was it hasn't started yet. 9 o'clock game.
Nope. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock my time.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. That's why I'm like scrolling around. I was like, how come I don't see scores? That would explain. All right.
I don't know where they're playing though. I have no idea.
Frisco, Texas.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
Oh, that makes sense.
since
My
it's a Frisco
girlfriend,
Bowl.
she's actually traveling. Her son plays for the team, so she told me she was going to be in Frisco the next couple of days, and I was like, maybe I can see you tomorrow. I have to be in Louisville, so I might see if we can have lunch or something, provided
There you go.
they fix my water line.
Priorities is what you're saying.
Welcome to the sticks.
Hmm. Well, it was they kicked things off on Saturday. They had 6 bowl games altogether,
Yeah.
which is pretty damn funny. It's like I'm waking up at 11 in the morning. It's like, oh crap, that's right, we got a game on, don't we? And then
Yeah, it was
there's
a pretty full Saturday.
Yeah, the NFL had games, and then the NHL was going on, and I think there was a UFC fight, and whatever. Jeez, NBA, of course, I think was going on. WNBA, if that's still a thing. Are they still? Do they still play? I don't even. But yeah, a couple interesting games. Jacksonville State, their first ever FBS bowl game.
Really?
Yeah, they graduated up. I guess you could say they managed to be
They're
promoted.
growing up.
They weren't supposed to play though, because NCAA has this 2-year restriction on teams when they move up. I guess that they say they do this like to make sure the programs are established properly and they don't overextend themselves or some crap nonsense. And then all of a sudden they looked at the bowl schedule and was like, oh geez, we're gonna have to start picking teams with losing records. Okay, you and James Madison can play after all. I mean, they only have a 9-3 record. Shut the hell up and give them the game. But
Amazing.
played well, won by a field goal at the last moment.
Wow.
And then-
So it must have been a really tight game.
34-31, pretty much a blowout. And then I'm sitting here looking like a complete genius because I said this other bowl was going to be a blowout match because the two of them are just gunslinging offenses. Appalachian State, they know how to tile up the points against Miami of Ohio Redhawks. They've got a big offense, 13-9.
Wait, that's it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I believe this was a weather impacted game though. So the Mexico Cure Bowl this was, but sorry, avocados from Mexico Bowl.
Get out. Seriously?
Yep.
Oh my God.
I don't know why American Avocados couldn't sponsor an American college football game, but there you go.
Exactly. They've even made a movie about American avocados. That was great. One of my favorites.
Yes,
The
covered it on
Avocado
our
Jungle
show.
of Death. Yeah.
We did that on
Middle of
Disasters in the
California.
Making about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is Appalachian State came out ahead on that one, and that barn burner, 1 touchdown scored. Yay! Made me look like a damn fool. And here's the thing. This is what's so tough about this crap is that there's so many damn players in the portal and those turning pro, and you never know from game to game who's playing, who's not. This one is on.
There were a couple of players that have opted not to play in the bowl games and instead go prepare for the NFL draft. Yeah.
Well, they're doing that, and plus the ones that are going in the portal don't want to play because they don't want to get injured before they go to the next school, of course. And then the school they're leaving is like, well, screw you, assholes, get out of here.
We've lost, Texas A&M has lost 8 students so far from the class of 22 to the transfer portal. And of news, I believe one of the defensive ends from Florida State, Verse, I think his last name is, he's skipping the Orange Bowl. He's going to prepare for the NFL draft, as well as,
yeah, I just
and this guy, Tuila Tagovailoa. He is from Maryland. He was a quarterback, and he is skipping the Music City Bowl for the NFL draft. And I'm sure his brother, his brother playing for the Miami Dolphins is probably cheering him on. So
this kind of thing I don't agree with. It's very distressing, and it's very well. I disagree with it for this reason. I'm in a bowl contest.
Oh.
They had Allstate has one where you could pick all the bowl games and see who comes out on top and win valuable prizes. Here I am picking teams, and then players are like, yeah, I don't want to play. I don't want to do that. Son of a bitch. I picked it because of you. So, yeah, I'm sitting there making my picks, trying to figure out who isn't in. I think I took UCLA because of the portal.
How did they fare this past Saturday?
They managed to come out on top against Boise. That one was a gunfight, but Boise is also down to their third-string quarterback. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go with the Bruins on this. And that
I was wondering because I kept flipping back and forth, and I was looking at this like, oh my God. I mean, it's like this is really close. I don't understand what's going on. I did not expect the Bruins to do so well, but they did. They managed to pull it off, so not too bad.
I found this one to be funny. Cal and Texas Tech, a pair of 6-6 colleges, and it's like, who the hell are you going to choose? And Texas Tech blew them out.
Yes, they did.
That cracked me up.
Our friend Patriot Musket was very, very happy about that outcome.
Oh, is that his team?
Yes, it is.
And by the way, happy birthday, Musket.
Yes.
And this one was cracked me up for a number of reasons. One, the famous Toastery Bowl.
Oh, my Lord. The what? Toastery?
This is famous Toastery. Well, this is apparently a restaurant chain in the Carolinas. This is normally the Bahamas Bowl, but they had to move it this year because of stadium renovations. So they're playing 1 year. So the two teams are playing for the esteemed honor of the one-time trophy of the famous Toastery Bowl.
Okay.
And, yeah, it was
weird.
Yeah, very weird. And I'm looking at it like there's Old Dominion. It's like, why are you even a bowl game? You're not even a college. Really? Okay, whatever. You can play. Go ahead. And then the assholes go out and open up a 28-0 lead. But they made me look good because they managed to lose in overtime. So how about that? How the hell you blow a 4-touchdown lead? But the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers took care of business.
I think
that's
so
like
funny.
You're like didn't even try when you're coming up with a nickname for your school. The Hilltoppers. Really? That's well, we got a bunch of hills around here, so and we climb them. So we get on top of them hills, and that's what we are, right? Okay, Hilltoppers. Gotcha. That's pretty intimidating. Don't want to go off against Western Kentucky because those people know how to hike. And I don't mean the ball. What I did there.
Yes.
But hopefully your former home team, UTSA, will pull it off today because I did choose them in the game.
Well, I'm actually not supposed to be a fan of UTSA for several reasons.
One, you're an Aggie.
Well, but that's a very minor reason why. My youngest graduated from Texas State, and those are the rivals. So I'm not allowed to cheer on UTSA. But in this case, I kind of have to because, Texas team. So
Yeah. But it's kind of funny too, isn't it? Like Texas State is about the most overlooked school in the state of Texas.
Well, Texas State has a very long history being a university, but unfortunately, it also had a really bad reputation for a very long time, and that was one of the reasons there was a name change. There's some famous albums that came out of there. LBJ for one, George Strait, and several others. George Strait in agriculture. I'm not even joking. He graduated in agriculture. But it was known as Southwest Texas State University, and it was known also as a party school. It was the number one party school in the nation for a time. And in an attempt to actually clean up that, that image and try to get a more established curricula, that more serious curricula, they changed the name to Texas State for one. But one of the best things that they ever did was Aquarina Springs. And I don't know if people are familiar with Aquarina Springs, but Aquarina Springs was the first, entertainment center to open in the state of Texas. And it was at the headwaters of the San Marcos River. So there was a lot of stuff, for entertainment. There were gondolas. There was an underwater submarine you could go into so that you can watch the females that pretended to be mermaids. They would have an underwater dance thing and whatever. Johnny Weissmuller would come to rejuvenate in the hotel that was across the way, and it was pretty famous. But I think it went out of business in '94 or '96, one of the two, and it was in disrepair. And the university decided to acquire it under the condition that it become an ecological park. So they started to restore it. And it is now a beautiful area, and it's part of their biosciences section. And people from all over the world come to see the ecosystem that they've been established in the past decade and a half or so. So it's pretty cool. It has actually become a really well-established university. It's starting to people are starting to notice it again.
Well, that's a very, very deep dive and a very involved, complex description of a school that has a shit football team.
Oh, I'm presenting about football. I'm talking about the academics. You have to understand, for a time, the defensive coach that we fired several years ago became their head coach. And I was like, I told my brother, who's also an Aggie, I said, can you believe Texas State hired Spiv? He was like, they're going to have 10 losing seasons in a row. Just wait.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny that, usually the state colleges are somewhat recognizable. I think I could probably name 10 schools in Texas before Texas State.
Oh, well, I can too.
But I'm talking about prominent football programs,
As far as football programs, yes. They were not known for their football. I don't think they've ever been known for their football. But I will say this, their student body is very happy regardless, win or lose. They just like the camaraderie, and they're very supportive of their football team. So it's really nice to see. there's no shit talking on campus. Let's just say.
Yeah, they have to be because they can't play football. But the other interesting thing is tomorrow is going to be the National Signing Day for college.
Mm-hmm.
What are the prospects that A&M have? Because at Miami, they're saying we've got a really good chance of having another top 10 ranked recruiting class.
I don't think our recruiting class is going to be in the top 10, but I can honestly say this, that I really don't care if they are. I really don't. I don't.
Well, I was interested to see how many might have changed their letter of intent after Jimbo left.
Oh, I'm sure that quite a few did. As I understand it, there have not actually come out with a recruiting number yet. And I think that has a lot to do with the coach. And it's nothing against him. I think that he is being a little bit pickier. He's not going for names, he's going for stamina. So, that kind of thing. He wants commitment. He doesn't want, I played here for 1 year. I really don't like it, so I'm just going to get the transfer portal. I'm just going to go to UT. I'm just going to go, he wants kids that are committed, that want to work and want to play the long game. So I think that's one of the reasons why they have not disclosed the recruiting class yet. But like I said, I have no idea. Is this just a feeling I get from our coach? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I do know that we've lost 8 so far to the transfer portal.
Yeah, Miami's got a kind of a lengthy list as well. Departing, our quarterback just signed over to Wisconsin. Okay, but we're still kind of in the market for Cam Ward from Washington State. So it's kind of like it's down to Miami or FSU for him. It looks like, but we've already replaced somebody on the D line, and also one of I think our senior safety went into the portal, and we just signed one from Vanderbilt, I want to say. So we're got to say this one thing that Coach Cristobal's good at, it looks like, is poaching from the portal. I mean, I don't know if I've watched a game this year where a play didn't happen and they were saying, and this one from this college, and he played over here last year. And
it was really weird, wasn't it?
They know how to work the portal pretty well, so I'm encouraged by that aspect of his game. And if we got another good recruiting class, I think in 2 seasons we should be in pretty good shape. I'm feeling pretty good about our prospects. Just got to see. I mean, if we get Cam Ward for quarterback, he's probably good for 1 year, and then it's going to be who do we recruit behind him and bring in? That's going to be the next step.
Yeah, I'm more interested with what's going on in Florida State because you know me, I'm all about the telenovela. I mean, I could care less about the ranking. I could care less about the recruiting. I could care less about the stats. I just want to know what's going on with the telenovela over at Florida State. Because apparently Florida State is still upset. And it's actually not just the student body and administration, but it's, the Board of Regents, a lot of the boosters, they're really upset. And they're looking at options where the ACC is concerned because they've never been satisfied with the way the ACC cuts the check, and they've never been satisfied with the amount of the TV slots, and everything. And so, they do have, if anything happens, it wouldn't be until 2025, but you also have to understand that they're under contract until 2036. And if they were to leave, they would have to pay a huge, huge fine to break that contract. So I'm wondering I'm watching it simply because of the drama. Let's face it. It's all about the drama for me. I'd love a good drama when it comes to football. I don't care about the scores. I don't care about who wins or loses. I just want the drama.
Yep, and that's where you and I are polar opposites.
I know, but we complement each other because you tell me all of the scores, you tell me who's winning, you tell me who's doing what and whatever, and I'm reporting to you the behind the scenes, and I'm kind of like the chick in The Replacements, the cheerleader. It's like, yeah, he just broke up with his girlfriend, so he's been in a drinking binge. He throws seconds off his game, blah blah blah. That's me. I'm into what's going on with them behind the scenes. So, that kind of thing. So that's what I've been
impact his decision making, and his play calling is going to be thrown off. He won't making second choices. Okay, got it.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I mean, let's face it, Florida State is still very upset about what happened. I mean, being kicked from 4th to 5th just to accommodate, another team, and who shall remain nameless because I don't want to upset anybody in the chat.
Oh, well, as you can clearly see, I do.
I know you do. So I've been kind of paying attention to that. But, other than that, I enjoyed some of the college bowl games and everything. And it was kind of fun to watch. And like I said, I'll probably after the show, I'll probably go catch UTSA game and see how that's developing. But speaking of football and professional, I'm sure you caught this. The Titans were hosting the Texans. And the Titans decided to do something really cute and kind of like rubbing salt in the wound type of thing. They wore their Oiler uniforms.
Yeah, I saw that in the bar the other day. We're all doing their Houston throwback while playing
against the Houston Texans. And everybody said, oh, the Titans are just going to roll over the Texans, blah, 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 blah. And they went out there wearing those uniforms. And Texans were not happy. They were like, oh, I see how this is. It was kind of like watching Forrest Whitaker in Fast Times at Richmond High. When they wrecked the car, and so they pretended that it was the other team, and Forrest Whitaker just took it out on the other team. That's what it was like. It was watching. I mean, Houston.
Well, was it?
Well,
because the game was like 16-16.
Yes, but it was not expected to be like that. They expected a blowout by the Titans, and it didn't happen. And so I was kind of like, I think this incentivized Texans to actually, play well. so that was, I was like, karma has been making the rounds lately, and you guys just basically took that bitch out and gave her a very expensive dinner. That's what you did. So, I don't know.
I was kind of nervous because the Dolphins really crapped the bed last Monday night against the Titans. So this week we played the Jets, another crap team. So I was like, oh, brother. But they basically stepped on their necks. It was embarrassing after a while. That 30-0 got the shutout. You don't see that too often in the NFL, but there you go. This is New York. So I wonder if people up there can spell LOSE. I mean, that's 4 letters. I think they can handle that, right?
Be nice.
No, it's football. We're being nice.
Okay, don't be nice. It's fine.
No, it's just kind of amazing to see the from week to week anymore. You can't even figure out these games. I mean, Dallas was looking like one of the unbeatables, and then they go to Buffalo and couldn't even get out of their own damn way. The Bills just killed them. And then last night I'm watching Philadelphia mess things up. And bit of controversy in that game. because the referees actually called a penalty according to the rule book, and people are a little dismayed by this.
Shock. What?
Well, the previous week, remember, we had the Kansas City Chiefs had a huge play called back because their guy was offsides, and then they showed the
Right.
replay, and their asshole receiver was standing offsides. I mean, he's looking at the football, and he was clearly his foot was past the line of scrimmage when they snapped it. Yeah, what the hell, dude? And then what went on here in the Philly game? You know, they have they're like super proud of this. It's their trademark play. The brotherly shove, the tush push. And basically, it means they take the entire team behind the football and shove everybody so that they can gain 1.5 yards. AG strategy, that. So what was happening was Jason Kelce is their center. And he's got this habit, especially on this play. You know, they need to pick up about 24 inches. So he'll grab the ball and get ready, and he'll move it forward like 6 or 8 inches before the snap. You know, like when he's setting up, and already he's, gaining more territory here. And the reps have been telling him about this. So they finally called it last night. So they do the tush push and they get the first down. And then the reps were like, no, we're going to call it finally. Backed them up, and they had to punt, and they ended up losing the game by 3. Pretty exciting too. They had the backup quarterback for Seattle actually took them downfield with like 1.5 minutes to go. Had a huge pass right at the end, like a 40-yarder, fingertip nab, end zone, game over, yada yada. But yeah, everyone's like, they never call that. That's bullcrap. Well, did he break the law? I mean, I don't understand the argument. They're like, referees never call it. And even after the game, Kelce saying, he's like, yeah, they've been warning me about this for a while because I just have a tendency to do this. It's like, oh, so you're cheating, is what you're saying. Got it. All right. No wonder your super secret play is so successful. But it cost them the game last night. So Philly is they're kind of foundering a little bit, and just, I gotta say, right now it's kind of hard to see who actually is the upper team. I mean, Kansas City's lost 3 in a row now.
I think so. Yeah.
I think Baltimore is really about the only one standing tall right now. They look really good.
I'm not gonna lie. I love the Baltimore Ravens, but I could care less if they play football.
Let me guess. Purple uniforms and something.
They're the Ravens for a reason.
I know the reason.
Well, that's the reason why I like the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, so you only like literary teams.
Duh.
Okay.
Hello, I'm in a book podcast.
I know. Well, I'm
only
not
been to all of
totally
his 3 houses.
I'm not stupid either because I know they're purple because they talk about purple in the Raven poem by Poe. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, and Poe was from Baltimore, makes sense, and he was having sex with his sister. Oops, we're not supposed to mention that. Okay, you're the one that likes the drama.
I'm just telling you, this is true. I do love the drama.
It's I think they're probably there. San Francisco's kind of putting their act together once again. It looks like. I think Purdy is starting to settle back to where he was at the end of last year. So maybe probably them and Dallas coming out of the NFC, and in Baltimore, and hard to say who else. I mean, I want to say Dolphins, but week to week, you never know. Are they going to blast a team 30-0, or are they going to step on their dicks and lose to a team with a losing record?
It's really weird. They have not been very consistent, and it freaks me out to watch because you would think that they would be more cohesive.
Well, the thing is, like, when they're good, they're blasting teams. They put up 70 against Denver, and they put up 35 points a few times this year and such. And then when they lose, it's like they look inept at times. We played Philadelphia, and we were kind of in the game the whole time, but the reason we weren't leading is because we kept screwing things up, and Tua couldn't hit his receivers, and this one was dropping all the time. And I was like, what the hell? What team is this? And then, they completely screwed themselves against Tennessee, but go figure.
Yeah, which was weird. That whole game was weird. I was like, am I on the right planet watching this game? It just didn't, it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, they had
don't know.
a 14-point lead with like 3 minutes to go.
Mhm.
And they only had the lead because it was basically given to them. A couple key fumbles, and then, they managed to turn that in with a ground game and score, but then the defense just completely folded at the end. Go figure. But then the next week, the offense without Tyreek Hill is clicking like gangbusters. So it's no idea who's going to show up next week. Could go either way. We'll find out. The Bills are trying to get back into it, and Jacksonville is kind of mediocre. I mean, what are they, 9-5 now? Something like that. And besides Baltimore, no one's really stepping up in the AFC. So it's curious, I'll just say that.
It does make me think strange things are afoot. And this is not even the Circle K.
But talk about strange things. Did you see the latest alcohol offering on the marketplace that everybody's talking about? I know that we turned a few heads weeks ago when we were talking about the Eggo Waffle cordials. That's damn good. And I know so many people are just like, oh my gosh, this is the end of civilization. How could you like that? It's like, try it. It's actually good stuff. It's good. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say this one ain't good.
I can't see it being good. Savory spirits have never been my thing. And this is savory. This isn't sweet. I want my spirits to be either dry or sweet, not savory.
See, I can see a place for, because there's a lot of smoked whiskeys now, and then bacon infused stuff is not bad.
But we both agreed some of the bacon infused stuff is not bacon vodka. No. There is something about it that you just cannot translate very well.
No, that doesn't really seem to work. Even though bacon is usually a helpful component to a Bloody Mary, it still doesn't seem to work there.
No. And the thing is, the bacon is outside of the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Although we all know that bacon is in our spirits. But anyway.
This one, I don't. Here's the thing. It's not savory or not. The flavor. What in the living hell? This is called Empirical X, which is, I got to say, a great name, actually.
It's a great name. And
the
it was
bottle
funny.
looks kind of sharp. It's kind of I guess, a red infused looking spirit with some black labeling. Doritos flavored.
Yeah, it's not, the grain spirit is not infused with Doritos. They take the flavor of the Doritos for the grain and for the grain alcohol. And I'm just like, I just can't. I can't.
I mean,
I just cannot.
No, yeah.
I like Doritos. Don't get me wrong. I could eat an entire bag sitting down watching, the coach of FSU, yapping. So, give me a good telenovela and that bag of Doritos is gone. But no, I just can't see it in a spirit.
And see, I hate Doritos, so there's no appeal for me here. Even if I liked Doritos, I don't see this making sense. No, not at all. Because I mean, what makes Doritos flavor so landmark is that it's cheese and spice.
Yeah.
This has no place in alcohol whatsoever. And don't get me wrong, I love cheese probably more than anybody.
I can attest to.
There's no marriage between the two, however. I'll have cheese with, but not in a drink. And it just, no, it doesn't make any sense. And this is the weird thing too. The Doritos people didn't cook this up. It was Empirical Spirits that did.
Yeah.
This was their idea.
And then Doritos heard about it and said, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we have a cooperation? And I'm like, why, God? Stop kicking karma around. I'm like, Gabriel, sound the trumpets right now.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you just wonder if like somebody should step in certain thought processes and like grab people by the shoulders and just look them in the eye and go like, no, do not do this. This is that classic example of you spend so much time wondering if you could, you never considered if you should.
Mm-hmm.
This would be that moment.
This is
right
Malcolm
there.
principle right here.
Because the people at Empirical were literally like walking around the distillery wondering what they should do. And somebody just spotted a bag of Doritos and just said, hey, you know what? We should distill this. And nobody looked at him and dumped the bag over his head and said, get the hell out of here.
I really don't know why they didn't do that. I would have. No lie.
I mean, they claim, they worked on this recipe and the grain bill, the mash bill they came up with was very complex and it was very involved process to come out with just the proper balance. Shut up. You made liquid Doritos. No.
Liquid Dorito. Ew.
I mean, right here, this is their selling point. Combining all of the ingredients so that the Doritos taste and smell are fully replicated. No, I'm sorry. And of course, this is already sold out online and it's hard to find in local markets anymore. Everybody's stampeding for this crap. $65 a bottle too.
That's kind of pricey for a freaking Doritos liquid.
Go get a bottle of 3 Olives and smash Doritos, pour them in a glass shaker, and then there you go. Okay, you just saved yourself $50. Because there's no way the effect is any better or worse than what I just described. Well, we spent a lot of time. We wanted to replicate the smell and taste of the Doritos chips. It's like, well, I can buy a bag of Doritos chips for $5. So what are you doing? I mean, great work on your part. I'm glad, probably went through quite a process and all that, but sorry. Give me some shit vodka and strain it through the chips, and I think you got pretty much the same effect. Nacho cheese flavored Dorito whiskey. Come on. But hey, who am I to judge? I'm not, if you want your Dorito spirit, go knock yourself out. I guarantee you though, 90% of the people that bought this, the liquid is not going to go much further than the neck of the bottle down. They're probably going to, hey, you guys got to try this. You got to try this. Like, yeah, that tastes like Doritos. Yep. Got a beer?
Yeah, I see this being, some people will jump at it as a collector's item. I mean, you know how the Trump vodka bottles are going for eBay, and on eBay, they go for hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Beyond ridiculous. But, some people like to collect things that are out of the ordinary, once in a lifetime, things like this, and put them up on their bar,
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was getting in on the ground floor of that when he started running for office. I was like, I should see him. And I started looking for him, and they were already out the door. And I found some people that were selling the airline bottles, the nips.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one lined up for like $10 or $15, I want to say. And then the guy pulled the sale because he suddenly realized they were going for so much damn more. He's like, oh, man, so we got the dog knocked off the shelf and it broke. Sorry, going to refund your money.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. Fucker relisted it about 2 weeks later. But yeah, I had to settle for a T-shirt I found somebody selling elsewhere, but Had to do that at Liberty. At least I turned some heads at my first CPAC. Like, does that say Trump vodka? It's like, it sure does. But it's this. I'm not going to be purchasing a bottle of this. Sorry, no. Well, what else do you have on your radar? Is anything upsetting you and aggravating you lately?
A lot.
Because we always love it when Aggie gets in the red zone.
I just cannot with this Pope. I just cannot.
Oh, geez. Strap in, folks.
I'm so incensed, but not for what a lot of people are thinking, I would be upset over. As you all know, I have a big issue with this Pope because how can I put this delicately? He's a Jesuit. So you already know how I feel about this. Right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are reporting that this is what he said, that he said that he formally approved letting Catholic priests bless same-sex couples. Okay. That's not exactly what he said. Okay. The statement actually says that it is okay for priests to give blessings to people who happen to be in a same-sex relationship, where it be married, a civil union, or they're just together, in a relationship, not blessing the marriage itself, but blessing each person. That is not outside of Catholic faith. That is not outside Catholic doctrine. As a matter of fact, if a priest were to come across like a drug user out on the street or something, and the priest would be compelled to give him a blessing so that, that would incentivize him to start seeing the positives in life and try to clean himself out and try to look for help, that kind of thing. So it's not outside of what they do. What I found objectionable was the manner in which he said it. This is basically the camel's nose in the tent. Okay. And as I was telling you, no Catholic priest that I know has ever denied a person that was homosexual a blessing. None. And I come from very conservative Catholic churches, and I've been to very liberal Catholic churches. I've been with Jesuit priests. I've been with Franciscan priests. I've been with Dominican priests. All the priests, they've always given blessings to sinners because that is what they do. Okay, that's what's done.
And I saw Judas Priest in 1984
at Red Rocks. Anyway. But Francis has been trying very, very hard to modernize the Catholic Church. I say that purposefully. I don't mean reform, I mean modernize. Reform would require that you actually take catechism, you take Catholic doctrine, you take, all of the tenets, you keep the tenets of the foundation of our church, but you change other things that have come afterwards. That's how a reformation is done. Martin Luther did it right. He said, these are the list of things that's wrong with this church. He nailed them to the door, got sent to jail for for like a month and a half. I don't know. I don't remember. But that's how it started. That's how the Reformation started. That's how the Lutheran Church broke away. So there has been a suspicion that there might be another break coming within the Catholic Church. Pope doesn't want that. The Pope does not want the Catholic Church to have a break where we still keep the Catholic Church on one side and then this new thing on the other side, like we did with the Lutherans. What the Pope wants, and this is just a suspicion from everything that he has let drop, everything that he has let said, everything that he has done, going to lunch with a bunch of transgenders people to actually tell everybody, yeah, it's okay for them to be in the church. Nobody ever said it wasn't okay for them to be in the church. No one has ever said that. As a matter of fact, the church I was attending before moving here, there was a gentleman who was in the process of going male to female. He was still coming to church. He was still getting a blessing. He still went through the communion and everything. So it's the fact that he's saying it to make people think that the church doesn't do this. And then incentivizing other people to say, well, you know, the Pope is actually blessing same-sex couples who are married. So maybe we should have same-sex marriages in the church. Maybe we should have, you know, this as one of the sacred rites of the church to allow same-sex marriages to take place. That is dangerous because that goes against our doctrine. It goes against one of the tenets of the founding of the actual church.
What he's doing here is bastardizing. Like the old standard has always been hate the sin, love the sinner.
Yes.
Here, they're accepting the sin into the church.
Yes. That's what I find objectionable. The fact that it was worded so as to make it seem like priests do not do this. That is what I found objectionable because it's not true. It's one of the first things you learn in seminary. You know, that God's love is for all people because we're all sinners. It doesn't matter what the sin is. The sin could be as little as I took the Lord's name in vain to I actually committed murder, you know, that kind of thing. There are some sins that are greater than others. This is true. But we all sin. And as a priest, you are told that everyone deserves a blessing, no matter what. No matter what they are, no matter who they are, no matter the sins that they commit, because we're all sinners. So for them to actually come out and say this, my question is, why are you saying it now? Why do you think this is necessary to be said? This is like standard. This is like Priest 101. You know, I don't understand what's going on. Why is it necessary? This is why. Because this Pope, they don't want the Catholic Church to have another Reformation like they did where the Lutheran Church was born. They want to make the Catholic Church different. They want to redo the Catholic Church. And that means breaking the foundations of the Catholic Church. That's why it's dangerous. Now, I'm not saying that the Catholic Church doesn't need a Reformation. Far be it from me to say that. There are some things that every church needs to do to reform. As, you know, things change in society or whatever. But there are some things in society that churches will not accept because they go contrary to certain tenets. I don't see any imam coming out and saying, we need to bless the same-sex people too. I don't see a single one of them. And there's a reason for that. It goes against Islam's teachings and the surah and the pillars. They throw people who are gay off of buildings. That's their reasoning, okay? So for them to actually, they need to reform with the times. And I'm like, yeah, that's okay and everything. But what you're saying basically, in essence, is that the time says that deviancy is now the norm. And that's not true.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
It is not true.
It's them accepting the act and not trying to rectify it or trying to address it.
This goes back to the fucking Jesuits. It goes back to the Jesuits. This is a church. I have grown in the Catholic Church. I married in the Catholic Church. I did First Communion. I did my, everything. The only rite I have not had in the Catholic Church is my last rite. Okay. So, because I'm still alive, obviously. But here's the thing, and this drives me nuts. I am a Franciscan Catholic. The Franciscan Catholics for a long time were considered the hippies, okay? No, the true hippies are the Jesuits. That was the dirty secret. The hippies are the Jesuits. They're the ones that are like down with the man. We need to, we need to burn everything to the ground, that kind of thing. And everybody forgets that part. When Benedict decided to retire, it was a huge alarm. It's not because no other pope had retired. Obviously, there was one that had retired. But when he retired, you know what he did? He literally went back home. That's all he did. He didn't stick around as emeritus. He left the Vatican. He went back home. And he lived a peaceful life. He literally retired from the church. This guy stuck around in the same palace. Trying to figure out, why is he still there? If you and I were retiring from something like this, the last place I'd want to be at is the place where I had been working at. I know it's totally different when it comes to religion, but I could not understand why it was that Benedict stuck around. And I think it had a lot to do with I honestly believe he was pressured to resign. There was something going on behind the scenes, but he stuck around because he did not want the damage to be done. And unfortunately, his health deteriorated and passed away. But I find it interesting that he wrote a book about his time as Pope Emeritus and things that were going on in the church. And he had under strict orders that book was not to be published in Germany, his homeland. It could only be published in Italian, and it had to be published outside of Italy. And I'm like, if you're going to publish it in Italian, but outside of Italy, what the hell? And we can't get the book here. No one can get this book. It's published.
Strange things are afoot in the Vatican.
Yeah, and so
this is like a Dan Brown novel in the making.
The church is actually squelching this book. This is the Pope that was responsible for covering up the biggest sex scandal in church history. And I'm not talking about here in America. I'm talking about in the world. In the world. And this scandal is still being covered up. We know about it, and every time somebody tries to bring it out and tries to actually cleanse the church of it, they get excommunicated. They get sent somewhere. They disappear. It is the most, I cannot, yes, disappear. There was one priest who was actually asking questions, where he was sent to? China. Did you know that it's illegal for you to practice Catholicism in China? I know it is. What the hell is he being sent there for? Now, admittedly,
that's a good way to disappear somebody.
There are Catholic priests that practice in secret, and they're called, I forget the term, but their names when they are I guess graduate into priesthood. Those that go into areas where Catholicism is not allowed to be practiced their names are held to the chest by the Pope, which means they will stay secret for the rest of their life. Nobody will ever know. So why would you take somebody who everybody knows and send them to China? I don't know, So
That's the Catholic version of Siberia.
it pretty much is. But the thing is, when you're a priest in China, you start off in China. You don't get sent to China. So that was very sketchy. And
Well, it's actually you brought up something that reminded me of another story when you talk about Martin Luther when he nailed the theses to the front door. That would be today considered probably vandalism. Did you see? Because last week we were celebrating the 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party.
Oh, yes.
A very watershed moment in the Revolutionary War. I mean, this basically kicked things. All right, granted, there was, that Rhode Island episode where they boarded a British ship and actually burned it down. That was kind of big too, but doesn't get as much play. It's not as sexy a story as the Boston Tea Party.
No.
But yeah, here we are celebrating 250 years. It's like, wow, it's amazing. Isn't it great? Kicked it off. No, it's not. We should all be ashamed of this, according to the Washington Post. Theodore Robinson, writing at the Post, tells us, was this significant or was this an act of terrorism?
Oh, God. I'm so glad I don't have water to drink tonight.
He talks about how they illegally boarded a ship, 3 ships actually, destroyed private property, that being the tea. It was an act of sedition. And, he's like,
he completely misses the point.
Well, it's like, he's trying to say, this is actually seditious acts. I don't think people realize that. It's like, dipshit. No kidding, it was seditious. That was the entire point.
That was the point, moron.
Who are you shocking with this news? Oh, my God, I did not know they broke the law.
I can't wait for his take on Faneuil Hall. I really can't.
It gets worse.
No, you're kidding.
The fact that these white men coppered their face and wore headdresses appearing as Indians was the introduction of blackface in America.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding?
It doesn't matter what the event is. It could be a religious holiday. It could be a national celebration. Basically, if anything makes a lot of people happy, there is going to be one journalist out there dropping their drawers to dump all over it. I mean, this is the journalistic meme of the fat guy in glasses going, actually, this guy's sitting here at his keyboard, like, let me just tell you people something. This is an act of terrorism and sedition. Well, let me tell you something, Theo. No shit. It was the entire point of it. You're not shocking anybody. These are the same people that, like, did you know Jesus is probably a person of color? You mean the guy from the Middle East? Really? That's comes as a complete shock to nobody.
No, my favorite take is like, how he's, Mary gave birth to an undocumented immigrant. I'm like, you realize they were there for the census because that's where they were from, right?
They were required to travel there.
Some idiot posted that, and I'm like, yeah.
I saw a reverend put that up there.
Yes. He's a fucking Jesuit.
Mary and Joseph were illegal immigrants, and Jesus, therefore, was an anchor baby. And it's like, you dumb son of a bitch.
No, he was not. Oh, my God. And it gets worse every single fucking
Why
year.
do you think there was no room at the inn? Because everybody was flooding into there because they were required to do so for this event. Jesus. It's like, I went to a NASCAR race and there were thousands of people living in RVs. They're all immigrants.
That's one of my husband's favorite stories, the whole no room at the end. an anniversary, I wanted to go to Enchanted Rock State Park because that's what we did for anniversaries, go to state parks. I was pregnant at the time. We went everywhere in Fredericksburg looking for a hotel. And the last one, they say, sorry, we're all booked. And without skipping a beat, my husband said, y'all realize the last time there was no room at the inn, you realize what happened, right? Because I was visibly pregnant. They all busted out laughing. And he was so kind. He said, hold on, let me make a call. And he found 20 miles away in Kerrville, but there was a hotel that had a room, and he made the reservations for us because he needed a manager. But I was just like, dude, no.
Thank goodness we avoided a second coming. Wow.
I know. I was looking at him like, don't blaspheme. What are you doing? That's one of my favorite stories. Anyway,
now,
go on.
At that point in time, had you any children?
No, this was my first.
Yeah,
this was 28 years ago.
Look how close you came to. You were like, you could have been there. Could have been so. I could have said, I know the second Mary.
Maria. Mm-hmm. I am a woman of color, so yeah.
Technically an immigrant. The parallels are building up here. Well, while we're on the subject of dropping pants, segue. It was a rather adventurous time this weekend in the news cycle in D.C.
Oh, yeah, it sure was. Quite,
holy hell.
I can't even say it. I can't say it.
I mean, look, I am not, a prude, and I don't get shocked. It's like, oh my God, stars, I would never imagine. But what in the living hell is in your head when you're working in the Senate and it just comes across your mind? It's like, you know what? I want to go have gay naked sex in the Senate hearing chambers. Hey, you know what? I'm going to film it. Hey, you know what? I'm going to upload this on the internet.
Amazing to me. It really was.
I mean, the leaps of common sense that have to be made for this, in case anybody's not aware. And
I'm pretty sure everybody's aware.
Quite certain just about 100% of the people aware. Yeah, for the first time, the metaphorical screwing that goes on in Congress actually took place.
It was
in
actual,
Congress.
yeah.
Somebody had sexual Congress in Congress.
I see what you did there.
Senate staffer, literally him and his boyfriend went and had sex inside the Senate hearing chamber. This is the room where they confirm Supreme Court justices, that kind of thing. I want to punch people like severely. It's like, are you thinking? And this is the only thing I can go. This is where I came from in my mind. Remember in 2019, 2020, especially campaign season, what was one of the selling points from the Joe Biden camp and from the media? They're going to bring decency and class back to Washington. The White House will once again be restored as a place of honor and dignity. Joe Biden said that we need to start to appeal to our better angels because Donald Trump apparently has sullied things so much. Since Joe Biden has taken office, his coked up recidivist son and his tidy whities has become an internet meme. we had a trans influencer flashing on the White House lawn. Who was that bald nutcase in the administration that was stealing women's luggage
Yeah, I
and
remember.
absconding with their dresses so that he could pose in them because he was a trans individual himself? Arrested not once but twice for this, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Cocaine in the White House. I mean, we've had the outbreak of these gay pride parades where they're having lewd sex acts in front of children. We have the cross-dressing story hours and all these other things going on with kids. They're trying to force sexual books into elementary schools for some damn reason. And now we have a Democrat staffer having graphic naked sex in the Senate hearing chambers. I mean, at what point in time do we just start to realize there's something severely wrong in the Democrat Party? I mean, damn. And this is, I talked about this at length in my podcast over at Red State. The media is actually feeding this because this story broke sometime on last Friday. Oh, there's gay sex. The Daily Caller got a hold of this because this dumbass posted this video on a gay chat room. And the media did not. You could just see. I mean, here, this is the kind of story that the media just call in the troops, overtime. Nobody's going home. Nobody's going for the holidays. We got the. This is the kind of thing where they rally everybody, and you hear about it for days and days and days. Gay sex and so. Oh wait, it's a Democrat. Call off the troops, false alarm. Most of the reporting has been focused on the Republicans. Somehow. Literally, this is a case of, it's not even Republicans pounce. It's the other cliche I love. Republicans notice. That's the problem here.
Yeah,
Not that a Democrat staffer had gay sex in the halls. It's, these Republicans are actually reporting on this.
Oh, and not just that, but that the Republicans were, criticizing his choice of partner. No, I don't give a shit who you're fucking. You can go fuck a cactus, seriously, and do so. I don't care. You don't do it in public place.
Well, for one thing, this
with
guy,
Lawrence versus Texas.
The guy that did this came out and said that, I'm being attacked for who I love. No, you're
not.
being attacked for where you expressed your love. Where you expressed your love.
Exactly.
And I don't mean on your person. I mean where your person was located during. And then I swear he had the literally, I would be probably on the verge of gay bashing because I want to throttle this little punk. I would never do anything to sully the honor of my workplace. Are you kidding?
Which
I'm
they
forced.
totally did.
Against my will, I was looking at these images of him sullying the workplace. And just, try desperately to play the victim because I'm gay and they're picking on me because I'm gay. It's like, if they were heterosexual and doing this, the reaction would be exactly the same. And the press just, the NBC News said that Republicans allege this took place.
No. We don't allege jack or shit or their shit.
There is video of this, okay? This is like they're desperate. There's no proof Joe Biden did anything. Well, we got about reams and reams of paper and evidence. No evidence. There's no evidence. No evidence whatsoever.
And I'm like, and then they say, oh, the Republicans leaked it right after. It's amazing how quickly this got leaked right after the Republicans did this. And I'm like, No. I'm not going to pass any judgment on the members of this particular group to where this video was uploaded. But I'm willing to bet there are more left-leaning people in that group than there are right-leaning people in that group. So simply because that guy belongs to that group, and he seems to be the type not to belong to groups that would have right-wing members in it. So
I
based
saw
on
that the three major networks, CBS, ABC, NBC, didn't touch this. NPR didn't cover the story either. The few that did, one reporter came out, journalist, quote unquote, claimed that this was done because the same guy supposedly yelled "Go Palestine" to another senator last week. This was revenge porn for that. Sure, because junior staffers on a Senate staff really have the most pull in Washington, and we really need to bring them to account. Nobody had heard of this jackass before he did this. It's not like, oh, he shouted, we're going to have to destroy his life, because that's going to do nothing. It's what he did and where he did it, not because he's this important junior staffer.
This is what upsets me, is that they don't care that he did that. They care that we are actually calling him out on it.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, y'all are the ones that keep saying what happens in the bedroom stays, that's private. You should not, blah, 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 blah. That's none of your business. I don't want the government in my bedroom. And yet you're okay with the bedroom being in the government.
Yeah. Why are you so busy about what people do in the bedroom? If you keep it in the bedroom, people won't give a damn.
We wouldn't care. And, a lot of people, like I said, I brought up Lawrence versus Texas. A lot of people were very critical of that because it seemed really weird how it was timed for, the cop to come and actually witness what was going on. And unfortunately, at the time, it was against the law to have that, whatever. And this went all the way to the Supreme Court, and it was ruled in Lawrence versus Texas that the government cannot intrude into the bedroom. Fine. You guys wanted it that way. You guys got it that way. So why are you bringing the bedroom to a public area? You had the opportunity to have sex in y'all's bedroom, in his room, hell, in the shower stall, in the kitchen, whatever. I don't care. As long as it's in your apartment or loft or wherever it is that you live, that's fine. But this is the Senate hearing room. And it's one thing to actually take pictures behind the podium or standing in front of the chairs in the Senate hearing room or, that kind of thing, a photo opportunity. This goes well beyond a photo opportunity. This was almost like it was an in-your-face.
We arrested people on January 6th for taking selfies in the rotunda while wearing ski jackets.
Yeah, and this guy is like, they're just attacking me for the person that I love. And I'm like, no, you're literally doing worse things than people in J6 did, and you're getting away with it.
But this is the problem.
And you're getting people to defend you. I'm like, what?
But the bigger issue is what the media is doing.
Mm-hmm.
By overlooking, excusing, ignoring this. They're normalizing this. They're not calling it out. They're not demonizing what took place in any capacity. This is coarsening of the culture, and it's all rooted on who did it. Because if this was a Republican, guaranteed there'd be no. Every reporter, Manu Raju and all those others, would be racing up to Mitch McConnell and everybody. How do you defend this? What do you have to say about the gay sex that took place? Every senator that's a Republican would have to call to answer for this. Ted Cruz, what do you have to say? Nothing here.
Nope.
And I got two prime examples that prove this out. One, Lauren Boebert.
Oh, yeah. The titty incident. She has
her and her date were copping a feel in the dark at a theater. And this was banner headlines for days.
Mm-hmm.
People calling for her ouster. She needs to be kicked out. This is disgraceful. How dare she? She's a shame on the Republicans. This is embarrassing the party and everything else. They played the video incessantly. I saw one outlet had all the from the time she was in her seat, security footage that was like night vision showing them escorting her out of the theater. There's other security cameras from the lobby. Then there's her walking out the front door. They even followed her down the sidewalk after. I mean, that's how intense they were on this story. She copped a feel at a theater. Full disclosure, I've done this. Just saying. Okay.
Well, now I'm looking at you going, you know you're going to have to tell me that story.
Oh, you're saying you've never had
Nope.
fun with a date in the theater?
Unfortunately, I can count on one hand how many dates I had at a movie theater, have a thumb and two fingers left over, and both times it was the same guy and he was a gentleman. So, yeah, no.
Well, this sounds like a you problem then.
It's a big me problem.
Choosing the wrong dates, apparently, but just saying, okay. No, I'm just saying what she did was a far cry from this. And yeah, oh, well, that was just a staffer. She's a representative. Fine. Yeah, okay, great. She reached across the aisle, whatever. You guys were all over that one. And yet here somebody sullies the actual Senate building this way. And you have no concern? No? Okay, great. Here's the other example. That they operate with two sets of standards. Look at what's going on in Florida, book banning, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just their favorite accusation now. Ron DeSantis is banning all these books. You mean the ones with cartoons explaining how to give blowjobs and have graphic sex for elementary school children? Yeah, we're getting that pulled out of elementary school. Sorry. How dare you? This is a disgrace. And yet, years prior, I have seen the left get bent out of shape about Huckleberry Finn. Oh, it glorifies slavery. Does it? To Kill a Mockingbird? To this day, they still call for that thing to be banned in some school districts because they dare say the N-word in it.
I was so disappointed with the sequel to that because Harper Lee was like, yeah, he's supposed to be racist. So she made him more racist in the second book. And I'm like, so basically you're destroying your magnus opus because you feel that he should be racist. Okay, got it.
How about this one? Good luck finding this. The Dr. Seuss book, To Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street.
Oh, yeah. That one's gone.
Completely unavailable because it has cartoonish depictions of Chinese people. The left doesn't seem so bothered when that happens. The press doesn't accuse anybody from the Democrat Party or elsewhere banning books. Oh, no, those are hateful. Those have content in it. That's unacceptable. We can't tolerate it. Uh-huh. Ron DeSantis used the same words. What's your reaction? How dare you ban books? But this is what they're doing to the culture. It's all dependent on who's doing it. It's not right or wrong. It's not morally based. It's not ethical. It is who's doing it. Oh, is it a Democrat? I don't know. I don't think gay graphic sex is meant. They would probably be more upset if you went to them and said, do you realize they didn't wear a mask while they were doing that? That would be considered a scandal, if anything. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh. Did I disgust you?
No. You're
Okay.
fine.
You fell silent and there was dead air, and then I panicked, and then I freaked, and then...
Sorry. Anyway, but yeah, it's the ridiculousness is off the charts. lately. And is it me, or has it gotten even worse?
Well, it seems to be getting worse while the reaction in the media is getting muted. Like the worse it gets, the less they care. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But while we're on the topic of criminality, got a couple interesting police blotter entries here that just caught my eye. There's one
These are so
individual
epic.
robbing a bank. Wanted to go in and just, hit the teller quick, make off with some cash. So had his plot. He was all ready to do this, but he had to calm himself down. He's a little nervous, actually, a little anxiety about what he's doing here. So he decides to get high first. Okay. If that makes you feel better, I suppose. I mean, I think you'd maybe want to be sharp of the mind while you're executing a federal crime, but that's, I've never robbed a bank, full disclosure, so what do I know? I can't be critical. Go smoke a bowl before you hit the teller. Go ahead. Great. So he goes and starts to execute his crime and slips a note to the teller, and she looks at the note and is promptly confused. She looks at him and says, did you need anything? And he's like, are you kidding me? What's up? He forgot to put on the note, by the way, I want you to put money in the bag. Or like he had completely flaked on the execution part of the crime. So here he is supposedly robbing a bank and forgot to tell them that he was there to rob the bank. Slight oops.
My gosh.
I've got a better one, though.
No.
Not even the worst heist attempt made. So, this is in Colorado. Armed robbery took place on a check cashing store. 3 individuals go in. They're going to hit the place for some cash. So, they pull up, getaway cars out in front. They all head inside. They come back out and ran into a slight problem. In the course of them committing a robbery, somebody else approached the store and committed a robbery and made off with their car. Two of the 3 suspects have been arrested due to the fact that they had a significant amount of trouble getting away, as their getaway vehicle was itself stolen.
I think that is just, you see, I keep telling you, people are just kicking karma a little too much lately. And she's getting a little uppity.
Oh, well, I just, you can't even write some of this stuff. This is just too beautiful. But hey, speaking of uppity, we got to wrap things up here too, but segue. Speaking of up, that was a strained attempt. I think I pulled something there, but you recall NASA a few years ago had that big celebration where they actually landed a probe on a moving asteroid?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
I kind of remember that event because the lead astrophysicist came into a lot of trouble because he had a cartoon shirt on that had a depiction of women that was offensive to somebody.
Yeah, one person got upset at the shirt that he was wearing. I'm like, never mind the fact that this dude did a feat that no one else on this planet has ever done. Let's just criticize his shirt. I mean, what?
He hit a moving target light years away, but let's bitch about the fact
let's
that
bitch about the shirt.
He had some cleavage on his shirt. I'm offended. Okay, great. We'll see you at Starbucks. I don't know what to tell you. So NASA lands this on the asteroid, and they start collecting samples. And what they've done is, they pulled the elements off of this moving rock, and they have a capsule that it would be stored in, launching back off of this asteroid and return to Earth. And the capsule actually, I don't know if it crashed, but it landed, basically out in the Nevada desert, I want to say.
Yeah, it had a good landing, actually.
So they brought the capsule in, and they have hermetic conditions. Everything's got to be very sterile. They have no idea what's on this elements that they have. Everything has to be protected. I think they do something too with like a nitrogen wash or something, just so any other contaminants don't affect
they
it.
They have the container inside you and I would call it a plastic bubble, and there's a constant stream of nitrogen that flows through. And the reason for that is that's what's out there, in outer space. So they don't want to risk anything being contaminated by something that's here on Earth that may not be on that piece of rock. So that's why they use nitrogen, to keep it clean, I guess.
Sure. Pristine and sanitized.
Mm-hmm.
Well, NASA's run into a slight problem.
Wee bit.
They've got these samples back. They've got the canister in the laboratory. They can't open it.
Yep. It's a big problem.
The scientists that are, I think they successfully got like 2/3 or 3/4 of it, but they can't get the entire lid off of this thing in order to fully access the samples. They're getting like stray pieces of debris on the outside that they somewhat test. They don't think they can open this thing up until sometime next year. NASA cannot open up their own capsule.
This is what happens when you have an organization that puts out contracts for each piece in a separate place. This is what happens. I've witnessed it several times. As I told you, I have a friend that worked on the messenger probe, and I have another friend that also worked on the messenger probe. And both of them knew each other, but they did not know that they were each working on a part of messenger probe, and they could not talk about it until after messenger probe went to Mercury and was considered a success 7 years later. So, one of my girlfriends, her job is to test coatings on probes and ships and everything that goes out into outer space. And my other friend's job, he builds certain technical components specifically to gather information and sometimes to gather samples. So depending on the type of probe that they're working on, that's what he does.
Sure.
And we were all talking about it in a chat group after they got their certificates for working on Messenger. And my girlfriend was like, dude, you were working on that? And he was like, you worked on it too? They had no idea. Okay, they cannot talk to each other. They have a job and that is it. That's all they have to do. They don't know what anybody else is doing. And this is a problem because when you're building something, you should be in the loop with everybody else that's making parts for it so that you know how to construct
you would think, like, I don't know, teamwork, that sort of thing. Trying to get everybody together and no, okay. So NASA now has asteroid samples that they can't access because NASA cannot open the NASA capsule.
Yep. So they are screwed for now. They're like, we'll figure it out. And I'm like, this should not be happening. This should not be happening. At no time should this be happening.
They're trying to concoct new tools that can both open this up but remain sterile as well. It just seems like something you probably should have worked out ahead of time. Huh?
That's the problem. Nobody They just assume they could just open it like a latch or something. And I'm like, that thing is traveling from millions of miles away and you're just going to open it like it's a latch? It doesn't work that way. It's a very complicated system simply because you want to keep the samples that you have gathered way the hell over there intact and as free of contamination from our atmosphere as possible. And I'm like,
But
the dudes that brought the moon rocks back did not have this problem. They did not have this problem.
I just remember when they first landed on this thing, they were just talking about what,
This
a
dude
miracle
literally
of
landed
mathematics.
a washing machine on a flying comet, and people bitched about his shirt. That was the most ridiculous thing ever.
But just like the formulations, the technology, the physics involved, everything to hit a moving rock tens of thousands of miles away. They did that. They don't have a can opener.
No, they do not. The thing is, they're working on these things that they're trying to make as sterile as possible to open this thing. But the truth of the matter is, they actually should be building the tools inside that plastic bubble. And they can't. This is the beauty of it. You actually have to turn an entire room into that plastic bubble filled with nitrogen and have people in there at the time that you turn it into, a nitrogen safe atmosphere, all, dressed like astronauts with the little oxygen packs and everything, ready to build these things. That's, I bet you anything, that's what's going to happen.
It's that this is the embodiment of the old phrase, we can land a man on the moon, but we can't,
Yeah. But, there was a time that NASA could do all this stuff because NASA at that time was not a politically motivated body. And also, everybody talked to each other. Everybody had to be involved in every step of everything that was being built when they were launching somebody into space. But, that changed, and NASA is a very politicized organization now. It really is, which is why they're just, they hate SpaceX for this reason. SpaceX is not like that. Everybody involved with building anything that has to do with SpaceX is always talking to each other. Nobody is doing something somewhere else and then they deliver it to be attached to something. No, everybody knows what that is. Everybody knows the process of building what A is before attaching it to B. And A and B have to be compatible so the people that build both of them are in the loop all the time. You don't have that at NASA
like it
anymore.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you don't have that at NASA anymore. As a matter of fact, my girlfriend, she works over in Huntsville, and she was telling me that she was testing some stuff. She doesn't know if it's going on a probe. She was just told, you need to test this, and tell me that, she needs to figure out the degrees at which, it's hardy, the degrees at which it's going to fail, blah, 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 and all that stuff. But she was not told if we were going to have a probe going up or anything like that. She's not told anything. It's not until after, if it's a success, that she is told. And I was just like kind of stunned that my friend over in Michigan and my friend over in Alabama were working on the same thing, and they didn't know about it until they each got a certificate.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's how bad it is. And I'm like, I understand that there's supposed to be a certain level of secrecy. My brother-in-law actually is a contractor for NASA in graphic design, and he does a lot of graphic artwork for NASA over in Johnson Space Center. There are some things that he has done for Constellation, for Orion, for all sorts of projects that have never, that are still, in the back burner or whatever, that people will never see the light of day unless those projects are done. So, he understands, he at least gets paid for it, but he understands he may never, people may never see what he actually does. So, you know, that's just the way it is.
Amazing, amazing. Well, we should probably wrap.
Yes, we should. I've
Bring
blabbed
this one
enough.
in for a landing.
All right. Well, Brad, tell the world where we can find you.
I am available on a daily basis at townhall.com with my media column there called Rift from the Headlines. Also, a regular feature on the front page of Red State, where I also have my twice weekly podcast called Liable Sources, diving into the media maelstrom that is our journalism complex. And if you need more of me on this very network, come back Thursday night, 8 p.m. as Paul Young from ScreenRant.com joins me as we go through the dark side of Hollywood and bad movies with disasters in the making. Alternate Thursdays, I'm here with Orty Packard, guiding you through all of the important entertainment information on the culture shift. And, of course, every Tuesday right here at 8.5 with the ever-effervescent Aggie Rican. And if you need more of me than that, let's face it, you do. If you head over to Jitter, I am at Martini Shark. And how about you, Aggie? Where can people find more of your magnificence?
Well, you can find me at Aggie Rican and at Aggie the Barkeep. Those are over on X. You can also find me here Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, doing the Cocktail Lounge with you. And Friday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, doing He Said, She Said, of late with our great producer, Rick. This Friday, however, totally different. We are putting on our production, our Christmas production, Miracle on 34th Street. So please tune in for that. It should be a lot of fun. Catch me with a New York accent.
Oh, really now?
Yes, I'm the New York mom. That's what it says on the roster. So I have to practice my New York accent. And let's see, where else am I? Oh, once a month, we do a Toxic Masculinity podcast, last Wednesday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's myself, Orty, Rick, and G. And Jeff and I have recently launched our new book podcast, which is once a month also, the second Monday of every month, where we review, little-known books that cross our path and bring it to your attention. So it's a lot of fun. Jeff and I have been having a lot of fun with that podcast, so tune in for that too.
All right, hang on a second. I feel like I have to mention something because Brad and I were just guests on the Buffoon of the Year broadcast with Gene Baradelli, and the first installation of that dropped today, so you can also find him there. He left that off the list.
Oh, did it finally hit? I was looking for that yesterday.
Yeah, I got tagged in it today. It looks like the first part of it was what he put out today, so we did, 3 segments, so I guess there's probably 3 different videos. I think it was 3 or 4, but yeah. First one's out today.
Aha. Well, all right. I'll have to look for that and pimp that as well. Yeah, we had a good time. Basically run through a few categories and coming up with some of the worst examples from the past year. The kind of thing I do. So
it was right up his alley. He fit right in.
All right. Well, I guess now we can wrap up. Thanks a lot for joining us this evening, and we hope you have a lovely evening.
And go raise a glass and look at the ceiling for the holidays.
And the glass better have eggnog in it. I'm just saying.
Indeed.
Coquito.